Greetings and welcome back to the Casual Wargamer. Today we're taking a look at the Solar Spearhead detachment for the Adeptus Custodes. I'm going to be honest, I really expected that this was going to be a jet bike detachment, as that didn't make an appearance in the Codex. Instead, we get one that is based on vehicles, and by vehicles they mean dreadnoughts. Yes, you can use it for your land raiders and grav tanks and what have you, but it's pretty self-explanatory that they want you to field loads of dreadnoughts. So let's take a look at how this works. Your detachment rule for this is Auric Armour, which comes in 3 stages. While an Adeptus Custodes vehicle, is at starting strength, unless it's an aircraft or battle shocked, its objective control goes up by 2. So early game, get on those objectives, score them ready and control them for the next turn. While an Adeptus Custodes vehicle is below starting strength, it gets to reroll hit rolls of 1. And if it's below half strength, it gets to reroll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. So the more wounded it gets, the more aggressive it gets. That's quite nice. You also have a rule called Moritoi Ancients. I'm probably butchering that word, but there you go. And it adds 2 to the movement and 1 to the advance in charge rolls made by a Custodes walkers. Again, it's pushing dreadnoughts. There is a special keyword. Keyword section. You can select 2 Custodes walker models from your army to gain a character keyword, and this means that they can have enhancements, and one of them can be your warlord. Dreadnoughts. I don't think this is a bad thing, though. Don't get me wrong. I may sound like I'm taking the Michael, but I'm not. I've seen dreadnought lists in Blood Angels before, and a couple of times I've seen it with Space Wolves and the previous editions, and it's quite a cool, if very hard-hitting and difficult to deal with list. So giving this to the Custodes seems like a nice addition to their army. You have 4 enhancements, as usual. Adamantine Talisman for 25 points. It's just I keep saying Astartes. It's a Custodes model, so it can just be your normal characters. And it improves the attack, strength, and damage by melee weapons by 1. The reason I mention specifically characters is because dreadnoughts generally have good strength and damage anyway. So I'm not overly sure it's worth 25 points to put it on a dreadnought character. But put this on one of your regular characters. To up their melee attacks is a really good idea. You could put it on a dreadnought, obviously, but I think that extra strength, the damage and attacks is good, but the extra strength seems a bit wasted. You're wounding things on 2s and 3s anyway. But you tell me. Next up is Augury Uplink for 25 points. The model has a 5-up feel no pain. Stick this on a dreadnought, quids in. Honoured Fallen, 15 points. It's an aura for a Custodes vehicle only. And while friendly Custodes infantry or mounted units are within 6 of the bearer, they get to re-roll hit rolls of 1. That's nice. And then you've got a veteran of the Cataphractoi, 10 points. It has to go on an infantry or mounted model, so there is something for jet bikes. In your movement phase, select 1 Adeptus Custodes vehicle or mounted unit within 6. Until the start of the next turn, they are eligible to shoot in a turn in which they fell back. So another detachment special that's giving units the opportunity to do a tactical doctrine to an extent. All of these I think are quite nice. And then we hit the stratagems. And you'll see what I mean here when I talk about they're pushing dreadnoughts for this detachment. Flawless construction. In your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, after an enemy unit has selected its targets, one of your vehicles that was selected until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets a model in that unit, if the strength is greater than the toughness characteristics of your unit, they get -1 to their wound roll. This is fairly standard. We're seeing this in some of these new detachments. It makes sense in this instance. It keeps your vehicles and dreadnoughts alive, considering you have fewer models if you focus on it so much. Thumbs up. Emperor's Vengeance. So in the fight phase, after an enemy unit selected its targets, one Custodes unit that was targeted can use this stratagem. And it's a fight on death effect. Roll a d6 when it's destroyed, add 1 to the result if it's a walker. On a 4+, they fight on death. Again, another one we're seeing relatively frequently in these detachments. And having a dreadnought fight on death when you could potentially have killed it outright is really, really good. Wrath will advance in the fight phase before one of your Astartes units piles in. It gets to pile in d3 plus 3 instead of 3. Less useful, I think, for something like a dreadnought, but for your supporting units, your infantry, absolutely top notch. Keeps them in the fight, keeps things occupied. Unstoppable. In your movement phase, a Custodes vehicle or mounted unit can move horizontally through models and terrain features. We saw this in the Necron detachment, the Star Shatter Arsenal. As I said in that one, I had a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to that. I didn't like the idea of vehicles being able to push through ruins, but at the end of the day, it helps. And in this case, it's for your dreadnoughts and jet bikes, and because you're going to have fewer models on the table because they're so expensive, this is actually quite good. No complaints. Relentless Persecution. In your movement phase, after the Adeptus Custodes vehicle advances until the end of the turn, it is eligible to shoot in the turn in which it advanced. If it's a walker, it can shoot and charge on the turn in which it advanced. Pucker. Love it. And lastly, Punishment Inescapable. In your shooting phase, one Custodes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot, their ranged weapons get ignore cover until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to that attack's ballistic skill characteristic and or any modifiers to the hit roll. Love it. Okay, that's the Solar Spearhead. As I say, it seems to be very much built around walkers rather than just vehicles, although you're still going to want to include things like that. What this detachment screams to me is this is going to be, you're not just playing your Contemptor Dreadnought from the Codex, you're pulling those legends, those Forge World units, those Heresy units there. That gives you an extra, 3, 4 Dreadnoughts? 3 each of them, boom. You could have a really cool detachment with this. I like this a lot. And that's, I think it's quite a strong detachment, but not silly. It balances out the fact that there are fewer models due to how expensive dreadnoughts are. You're still going to back it up with other vehicles and infantry, but they may not benefit quite as much. Actually, Games Workshop, you've done a phenomenal job on this one. I like it a lot, and I didn't actually plan to when I first started reading it. Thumbs up. So, what are your thoughts on the Solar Spearhead detachment if you're a Custodes player or you're not a Custodes player? Let me know in the comments down below. I would be interested to see your thoughts if you agree with me or not, and how you plan to use this detachment. In the meantime, give me a thumbs up, please. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, guys. Good gaming.